Welcome to podcast 11 of The Working Man. We've got Hodgey in the studio again today. Hopefully he'll add a bit more than he did last time, because last time he didn't really add to the conversation at all. Anyway, we'll see how he goes today. Okay, today we're talking about the leftover lie and how to flip it. What we're talking about is the way that most of us think is that we will budget for the whole week, and then whatever's left over, we'll invest. Okay, but as we know, it doesn't work out that way. It doesn't work out that way. So I really want to go into that, dig in that a little bit more. Okay, so what happens is most people have how you invest backwards. They don't prioritize it, and what that means is that it goes to the end of the list, and you say, well, whatever's left over after I pay all my bills, I'll invest with. And we get to the end of our pay period, the end of the fortnight or month, and there's nothing left. Okay, and what we've done is we've unwittingly fallen mercy to a version of Parkinson's law. Now, Parkinson's law is a law that states that work will fill to complete the time available to complete it in. Okay, it's used in finance and workplaces, and pretty much it's another version of if you want something done, give it to someone who's busy. Okay, people will naturally fill a space, a void. So my version of Parkinson's law, but created for investing and money, is expenses will expand to consume whatever income is available. Okay, I see this over and over. We all do it. And let's be honest, if there's money left at the end of a pay cycle, we've worked hard, we think that we should probably reward ourselves or find something else to do with it. And so it doesn't always, very rarely will it end up being invested. Okay, right? It's just the way your brain thinks. Unless you're some sort of robot, and I guess, most people aren't that. So the trick is to move the investment, the money that you want to invest, to the start of the bill cycle, the start of the pay cycle, and get it invested straight away. All right. That's where the term pay yourself first comes from. It's not some wanky slogan. It's a technique that works because it works with your psychology. All right. Out of sight, out of mind. I like that. I'm going to use that. And it's in the article that I've just put on the Substack page. Okay. And that's why the manila folder technique that I keep going on about is so powerful. What you do is you work out your costs. And every time you find a saving, you get that moved by automatic transfer at the start of the pay cycle, at the start of the fortnight. You've saved a little bit of money and you move it and you get it invested straight away. You take it somewhere where there's friction to get rid of it. Okay, so you put it in another bank account somewhere out of sight. All right, and then what'll happen is your brain will just work on figuring out how to live on the rest of your pay. If you've been, like me, been working for a long period of time, you'll notice that over time your pay creeps up. Okay, through inflation and pay rises and jobs that you've taken on, where your pay when you're a teenager to now has risen over time. Okay, so the way that we can flip this is use that gradual creep in income up, and every time you get a pay rise, you move a small part of it, maybe a third of it, a quarter of it, a half of it, maybe all of it if you think you can do it. And when you get that pay rise, you automatically make that transfer over to the investment account straight away at the beginning of the fortnight. And then you're left with the same amount or a bit more. You get a part of that pay rise, and then you can use that to pay your bills. All right. I've got a friend who works in finance, and he talks a lot to very high net worth individuals, people with high incomes, and he says they're hopeless. They pretty much spend everything they've got. Not all of them, but the majority. Okay, so they'll be, driving around in a Mercedes and they're income slaves, right? They're spending everything they've got. The flexibility in their life to stop working or do something else isn't there. Okay, they have to continue to work to pay their bills. And that's that whole thing about where your bills will expand to the level of the income that you have. It's just natural. It's normal. We're consumers. We're in a consumer society. The capitalistic society encourages consumerism, so it's very difficult to fight against. So what you've got to do is take the money out and put it away, then look at the rest that you've got to get through your week or fortnight and deal with that. So that's the flip that I talk about, the fix. Okay, so if you get a small pay rise, maybe $100 a pay, and you immediately, you don't accept that into the bank account that you see during your fortnight or month, you move part of that, 25, 50, or all of it if you can, over into the investment account, and then you get on with your life. All right, and you figure out, you'll figure out how to live on that, unless you're actually on the edge of poverty or the poverty line. Then you'll figure out a way. And I write about all those techniques about how to find the savings to do it. But once you find a saving, you've got to get it moved and you've got to get it out of your sight, out of where you can see it. Otherwise, you'll want to spend it. All right. So in the article, I'll go into a couple of examples. For example, roundups. Okay. Some banks have, every time you pay for a good or service, they'll round up to the nearest dollar and then take that small amount of money and move it over. That's kind of a skimming technique. It just takes a little bit off everything, and after a while you get used to the $30, $40 a month that it's moved into the account. So we've done that, and then over time we've cranked that roundups just from round up to the nearest dollar. We add $1. So now every month over $100 goes into our investment account, and over the last 18, 20 months, we haven't really noticed that difference, or we've figured out ways to keep our expenses lower while we do that. I'll go into some other techniques there, and there's lots of other things that you can do. For example, when the interest rates on home loans went down a couple of years ago, we just kept paying at the higher amount, except we moved the extra that we were now paying into the investment account. Then when they turned around 12 months ago and started going back up again, we tried to live with the higher payments and just kept moving that over and just kind of inching away at the amount that was left over every fortnight. And that we were able to do that. And we were able to do that because we were working on bringing our other costs down through the other techniques that I go on about. Okay, and the cheat code writing that I've done. So go back and have a look at that. And then what happens over time? Okay, there's a thing called aggregation of marginal gains. I'll go on and on about it. If you have a small win, a small saving of a few dollars here or there, it's not going to change your financial outlook in your life. However, if you stack a few dollars here and then a few dollars there and another few dollars, and then you add them together, and then you move that, and then you continually do that constantly, that's called aggregation of marginal gains technique. So aggregation, the joining together, the addition. Marginal means probably does not make a big difference, but once you add them all together, it does, and it adds up over time. And we're putting multiple hundreds of dollars a fortnight now to one side that we've built up over the last year or two, over time, just inching it up as we have worked on reducing our other costs over time. I go into all those. It's all there in the writing that I've done, the articles I've done, explain exactly how I've done it. And there's a lot more to come. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say today. Aggregation of marginal gains. We're going to flip the script from, I hope there's some left over and we're going to invest it, to make it the first thing that we do. We move that out, and we figure out how we're going to live on the rest. Okay, and that's my job. That's what I'm here to help you with. So keep stacking those small wins, and let's go. LFG. All right, we can do this. See ya. Peace.